All right, everybody. Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. So if you are a pre-coiner with no Bitcoin at all, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I am your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, Bitcoin smash buyer and proud multi-coiner. Just like I smash buy Bitcoin, we need you to smash that subscribe button, like, comment, share our videos.
Today, we have got Sara, who is my wife's friend. So when my wife told her friend Sara that we had a Bitcoin podcast, Sara said, you know what? I've got some Bitcoin and I want to know if I should sell my sats for a trip to Paris. You'll see in the episode, we go over the reasons why you buy Bitcoin. We go over the reasons why you hold on to Bitcoin. And we go over the reasons why you might sell some Bitcoin, right? And it's a really interesting conversation. We cover some of the cryptocurrencies out there today, along with a couple of other things that I think are going to be really interesting for you all to hear. So thanks so much for joining us today. Without further ado, here is my wife's friend, Sara. We are excited to have you on the show, though.
Thanks for having me.
Sara, okay?
Great to
my
have you.
wife's girlfriend.
Yeah, we mahjong together.
Oh.
Kristen and I play mahjong together, but we've been friends for years.
Is mahjong experiencing like a pickleball trajectory right now? It feels like it.
Yeah.
Like it's on the same growth curve as pickleball was.
That is fair. That's a fair analysis.
Yeah, and it's popular with the ladies.
Although anybody can play it.
Right. Sara is Kristen's friend, right?
Yeah.
And we were so pumped up because Kristen told me one day, Sara wants to come on the show. I was like, oh my God. Yes. Because Sarah's gonna hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she said that your question was, do I sell my stack? Do I sell my sats for a trip to Paris?
I love that.
Or some of it,
Uh-huh.
right? Like if I say, I mean, obviously if I bought in 2021 and now looking at where things are today, like some of that realized profit, would it be a good idea to then sell and use that to buy a new bag in Paris?
Right.
Right. So those are the tough questions.
Yep.
Because one, it's an investment. You want to hang on to investments. But two, you also have a life to live. And I think of, if we're going to dive into, how my worldview on cryptocurrency is, I think of it as I don't at one time spend more than I would on a night out to dinner. Okay. So it's not hurting money that isn't otherwise, allocated for something else. And so if it grows, that's great. If there's a loss, that's what I would have spent on a night out to dinner.
Oh, that's smart.
Okay.
So you're kind of like trickling into it.
And now that we have 3 children, we don't go out to dinner.
Yeah. No,
Right.
Yeah.
We don't go out to dinner.
Yeah.
So, right. And so not touching funds that are needed for other things. Like I think of this as like flexible. What do we want to do with it? But yeah.
So when you put that money aside into an investment, it's money that you're not going to need to run your life.
Right.
Anytime soon, at least.
Or retire.
Right. Okay. And if it goes to zero, but if it goes to the moon, sweet.
Right.
We did it. Right.
Right. And I did. I mean, I bought some of the Shiba Inu Dogecoin because it was funny. And I like to be, current with
ahead of the curve.
Right. What's going on in pop culture.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. So now it's worthless and
Dude.
that's fine. But,
Yeah, but
I only spent $20 on it.
Right.
So,
Right.
But you're saying you got some utility out of that, right? Like it
Entertainment.
yeah.
There you
Like
go.
and it just kind of like validated who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be the person in your friend group that said, I have some
Dogecoin. I have some.
That's worth
coin.
something.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not worth anything today.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it's
maybe
not.
it is.
No.
It's
And
not.
it will never be worth
It's not
anything ever because it's ha-ha.
Yeah.
It's a ha-ha coin, right? Where you buy it for the lulls.
It's a
right?
ha-ha
Yeah.
kua.
Exactly. That turned into a boo-hoo coin when everybody got rug pulled. So, and I think that's what Marie Kondo would say, it sparked joy for you to buy Dogecoin, and that's the extent of it, right?
Right.
Sometimes you buy things out there in the world, and just the act of buying it is what sparks joy.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily having the thing anymore.
Right. And I didn't do that with GameStop, but I was following along, and I was highly entertained by that.
So you didn't buy any GameStop when it was going nuts? Okay. But you followed along.
But I followed along.
So
so entertaining.
I mean, so it sounds like one of your hobbies is trading or investing or following markets.
So the first stocks that I bought, and I can't tell you, it would have been 2008, and I can't tell you who came first, but I looked at Bank of America when the housing crisis was happening, and it was a horrible time in our economy in our country. But I had, again, money I would have spent on a dinner. And so I thought to invest it there. And so I bought some Bank of America at $6.49 or whatever it was. And so now it's, I don't know, I haven't checked lately, but a lot more than that. And then I had a Visa credit card, and I heard about how Visa was going to go public around the same time. I think it was like Easter time frame. And I looked to see what MasterCard was trading at. And I'm like, well, then Visa is going to trade at that. And it's being sold, so I learned when I had more time to educate myself on just kind of the ins and outs of the stock market. Of course, everybody says that. I wish I had bought a lot more shares of Visa when I did it, but I didn't, but it's fine. So when Bitcoin came around, I wasn't the first person the first year. I was, a couple years in and started to trade it around a little bit and educate myself on it. But again, always with that thought that this is what I was spent on dinner.
Yeah.
Not overextending ourselves.
But the fact is, it's worth enough now that you could take a trip to Paris with it and have some left over.
What I have? No.
I guess he's saying do you have enough to fund the whole trip?
No.
Or you're just trying to get a little bit of extra?
No, I just want
top.
Should I sell it today?
Yeah.
And then use that cash towards a fun purchase in Paris.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you first hear about Bitcoin? Who did you hear it from, or where did you see it, or can you even remember?
Well, I was an early Twitter user.
Okay. My
husband is an early Reddit user. So, between those two platforms, we were absorbing all of that information. And then I have a friend who eventually started working in the space, and so I would hear about it from him.
In the Bitcoin space?
Yeah. He was working, I would follow him on Twitter, and then just some information that he posted. And then again, you just on those social media platforms, then you start to grow your, who you're following and the education you're receiving. And again, I was already doing it on E-Trade, and then Robinhood popped up, and then Coinbase existed. And
you just kind of learned more about it through Twitter and decided, I'm going to buy some. What made you decide to buy some? What was your purpose for buying it?
Did I start? So Robinhood didn't have it. I was on Robinhood. Robinhood did not have the crypto when I was first hobby trading on Robinhood. So I guess the first purchase would have been on Coinbase.
Same here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it was probably okay, so, for my hobby trading on traditional stocks, I had a little extra, could deposit that into our checking account, and then started a Coinbase account and said, well, let's try this out, because again, it's all the funny money that, it's like the cost of a dinner. So that's probably why, because I was well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. And so you bought Bitcoin on Coinbase 2021.
Oh yeah. And
you haven't sold any of that yet.
No, I've bought and sold.
Oh, so you've been
I've been
trading.
Yeah.
Trading Bitcoin. Okay.
And then my brother, around whenever like I first started hearing about it, then he was like, "Whoa, have you looked at Ethereum?" And so then I would read up about Ethereum, and then then when I think it was when you were on Coinbase, it was like, what do they call it? Whenever you, what's the term where it's almost like to me, it almost sounded like a CD, right? Like staking, right? You stake. So if you bought like 4 of these starter, like these coins that are trying to grow and become something, and you stake your money, and you can't necessarily sell it right away. You're kind of like holding on to it like a CD for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have some coins like that.
But the idea is that you get them at a really low price.
Yeah. And then eventually, hopefully they do well, and then you sell it.
Right.
Is it almost like a pre-mine? Where like there's like some of those coins they're issued with a certain number already out there in the wild, or is it more like, to your point, getting shares of like a private company that's about to go public, and they're like, hey, if you're going to get shares in this company, you can't sell your stock right when we go public. You got to wait 6 months or something.
It might be.
It's like a pre-IPO strike price sort of thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah, it might be like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, were they like initial public coin offerings? What do they call those? I can't remember what they called those.
Yeah, not sure.
Okay. So your Bitcoin trading, have you done well? Have you made more money?
Yeah.
By buying it lower, selling it higher,
right,
waiting for it to come down, and then buying it again and selling it? You've done that successfully.
When was the last time it was down in the 70s? Was that last fall?
It was in the 70s. Yeah, basically like August, September.
Okay, so that's the last time I've really done any buy sell.
Okay.
And then so I kind of have hesitated because I think some of the tax laws have changed where the gain, like what you're paying on gains is different than what it used to be.
I don't know about that.
Not a tax expert. So I was like, well, I don't want to like mess up what we end up owing in taxes.
Specifically to Bitcoin, or just
trading
like
in general.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how much Bitcoin you have, or do you want to keep that private so that somebody doesn't come try to get your Bitcoin?
It's not enough that somebody's going to want to come get my Bitcoin.
I mean, are you, we talk on this show, we're talking in sats.
Okay.
I mean,
what does that mean? I still didn't ask you. What do y'all mean by sats?
Right. So each Bitcoin is divided into 100 million sats.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
The same way a dollar is divided into 100 pennies.
Okay.
So when you see, on Coinbase, 0.00001,000, you're like, oh, I have 0.00001 Bitcoin. You have 1,000 sats.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when you see 0.01, you're like, oh, I have 0.01 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Another way to say that is I have 1 million sats.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, how many sats do you have?
I don't know. Do you want me to pull up my phone?
I mean, if you're comfortable sharing that, I think we should look at it. Yeah.
So how many sats is this? So if today I have 0.00124069 Bitcoin.
Okay. 0.00124 what? 690?
Okay. 0.00124,069.
Yeah. So you have 124,069 sats.
Yeah.
Right.
At a value of $123.
Right.
Okay.
And my average cost is $53,000 per coin. So, bought it a long time ago.
53K is your cost basis for your 124,000 sats. Yeah, boy. It's like $100,000 right now. Right. So effectively your 120 some odd bucks is now like 240 bucks. And you're thinking, do I sell these sats for a bag on my trip to Paris?
Right. There you go. That's an easy way to look at it.
There it is. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Because I could cash this out and then.
All right. So let's, and by the way, I fully have an answer for you. So before I give you my answer, right?
Okay.
I want to understand from your point of view, what's going through your head when you're trying to figure out, should I sell my Bitcoin for, something special on my trip to Paris?
Okay. So another way that I look at my Bitcoin is, how is Bitcoin doing in relation to the stock market? Because, there are times where I'm like, it makes no sense to buy or sell or do any sort of trading in the stock market because we're kind of at a funky spot, right? Mm-hmm. So then for the activity, I'll do that over in Bitcoin. So in my mind, I go, well, we're at 100,000 and never been there before. To me, again, I didn't go to college for any sort of, financial degree, or I don't have any of that experience. But as a hobby trader, hobby investor, I think of it like, okay, well, Bitcoin's at an all-time high. It's a fine time to sell it, use it. And then knowing that if it dips back down a little bit, then if it starts to dip back down a little bit, but then the traditional stocks go the other direction at some point in the next year, right? I'm not committing myself to needing to do anything with this money, mm-hmm. and it could sit there and I can ignore it for a year, and that's fine too. But if it, when traditional stocks are more this direction, and I can sell and make a little bit off of that, and then I can put that in Bitcoin if Bitcoin is down, and then it's like you're leveraging different investments mm-hmm. depending on how the markets are.
Yeah. And there are a lot of folks who trade cryptocurrencies, and when they want to sell it, they'll sell it and they'll store it in Bitcoin. And then they'll, like almost like you're saying, like maybe the cryptocurrencies go up, but Bitcoin has a little down fluctuation. They'll sell, they'll come here. Mm-hmm. Then Bitcoin will rise up, and then giving them more money. Mm-hmm. And so then they'll sell that and go back into their favorite mm-hmm. meme coins, etc. Right? Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're doing the same between Bitcoin and the more traditional mm-hmm. Investment spaces like stocks and bonds, etc. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it almost sounds like in your mind you could potentially sell it now, get yourself something nice for the trip to Paris, because when it comes back down, mm-hmm. let's say on the other side of Paris, it's not $100K, it's $90K. Mm-hmm. You can say, hey, now I'm going to take some fresh cash I have from these dinners that I'm not going to. Mm-hmm.
Or fresh cash that I made off of selling, one Disney stock because Disney's finally back up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And no big deal to you because mm-hmm. you'll just get back in when it goes down a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So a trader approach, a trader mentality, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is an investment for you, just like a stock.
Right. Right.
So, if I ask you right now, which way are you leaning? Keep it or sell it?
Right now, I'm leaning to sell it.
Okay.
And I would make that decision, I'd probably chat with my husband about it, and we'd kind of like.
So the money that you took that would have been in a dinner is y'all's money. So that's y'all's Bitcoin.
Right.
Okay.
It's y'all's Bitcoin. And like, if we think about, and he doesn't, like, he's not, Bitcoin is something like, it's something we want to really focus on. But again, it's neat that we have that I have that position. Mm-hmm. So from like pride standpoint, I want to hang out and say I've got that position, totally. Or do I just go ahead and sell it and say?
Okay. And how does he feel about Bitcoin? Indifferent?
We have the same mentality about it. Like, if there's an opportunity to make money outside of traditional investments and it's, not cutting into our operating budget for our household, then like, why not try it?
Okay.
But, I'll sit there and overanalyze making that purchase, and he'll say, oh yeah, well, if it sounds good, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what
about you? But what about you guys in that?
In terms of like, do we overthink stuff?
Yeah. Or like, you just go, oh, sounds good, do it. Like, where would you put yourself on that?
I try to think as little as humanly possible.
Me too. Mm-hmm. I operate on intuition. Mm-hmm. I am actively working to seek more of a group conscience in the big decisions. Mm-hmm. Actually, any decision. It's like a muscle, mm-hmm. you just have to practice. Like, let me chat with someone mm-hmm. about this. Mm-hmm. That's not natural for me. Like, I'm just like, yep, that sounds good. That looks good. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I know my mind does not work, period. because I'll be getting Panda's dog food into his bowl, and the kibble clatters into the bowl, and I look at it and go, that looks crunchy.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, yo, why did my brain send me that signal? What do I do? Eat the food? Does my brain want me to eat the dog food because it looks crunchy?
And maybe it just shows that you're present. You're not doing tasks like a robot and ignoring.
Yeah. No, I just think my mind doesn't work. So thinking is not good for me, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do agree that Kristen, she'll be thinking about stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a huge amount of thinking to do about that one thing.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Like, how can you not have thought your way to a decision after that much thinking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take you back to when Bitcoin was $1 per coin.
Okay. What year would that have been?
2010, 2011. I don't know.
Okay.
Early days, right? And your $124, right?
Yeah.
Would have gotten you 124 Bitcoin.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now you want to take a trip to Paris.
Right.
Should I sell my and my Bitcoin has gone
and just go ahead and really live it up.
Right. So I put in 124 bucks. I have 124 Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin is $2. So I got 248 bucks. So should I sell my 124 Bitcoin for 248 bucks and buy which bag do you want? Kate Spade?
Oh, I don't know yet. I want to get a brand that no one knows about.
Okay.
That only people in Paris know about.
All right. Okay. Okay. So you want to actually buy almost like a souvenir from Paris. That's a fashionable item.
Yeah. If I get a bag from Paris, it's not going to be like one that I can get here.
Okay.
Yeah. No one else will have it here.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get that bag.
Okay.
All right. And it feels good. You're in Paris. You got the Louvre, you know, you got all the fashion, Hermes, and you get your bag, you bring it back home. It's all good. All right. And let's say it's 2010, 2011. You got some nice memories. All right. Now it's 2024.
Right.
And
for 2025.
It's 2025.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Your 124 Bitcoin from 2011 would be worth 124 times 100,000.
12 million.
That's 12.4 million. So then you would have to say, gosh, do I want that bag or do I want an unlimited number of bags?
Are you doing the math? Is it 100 million? Or no, it's a million.
It's 12.5 million.
Right.
Okay.
So can you imagine hanging on to your 124 Bitcoin that was worth $248
Right.
14 years ago, and today it's worth 12.4 million?
Right. Well, in the luxury bag community, there are people who buy bags for investments. No. I am not at that level, but
right.
And
actually, I looked that up one time, and
that's like a thing.
Louis Vuitton certain bags do literally appreciate.
They appreciate value.
Right.
Okay, so just for what it's worth, I don't own a $10,000 bag. I will never own a $10,000. That is not on my agenda, right? But down the street actually not even that far. We could walk to it from here. There's a store called Adore. It's a consignment store. And inside their glass cases in the back locked, they have $10,000 Birkin bags that are being resold. I mean, we're in North Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And
what material could it possibly be made out of to be worth 10,000 pieces of nation state paper?
Right. Anyway.
So, we had a guy on the show earlier. He bought some Bitcoin in 2017. He sold it, I believe, the same year. Okay. And if he had held on to it, even from 2017 to 2024 to 2025, he would have had 10x the amount of money.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So in this case, if it's 2025 and you're going to Paris, maybe by 2033, your $240 will be $2,400.
Right. And we've seen Bitcoin just stay stagnant for a long time too. You know, like once it got out of the $30,000 a coin range, right? Didn't it just kind of hang out up to 50, 60? And then it's just in the last few months that we've seen it go crazy.
Right.
Again. Recent. Right. Yeah. So, you know, it's always about like, is it is it, or have we hit a plateau again, or?
Maybe, but it's always going up.
It is. You're
It's
right.
always going up.
Mhm.
It's the best performing asset class of all time.
Okay.
And if you look at annual growth rate of Bitcoin, on average, it goes up 200% a year. So we might not be in a year 2025. We might go up more than 200%.
Right.
Might go up less than 200%. But
Right.
on average, historically, it's gone up 200%
Right.
every year.
So, but that's actually not my answer, by the way, because you might be thinking, oh, Stuart's answer is don't sell the Bitcoin. That's
Right.
not my answer.
Right.
Okay. Now, to your point, Bitcoin, and I heard this recently somewhere out there, 40% of the time, Bitcoin does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
30% of the time, Bitcoin goes down. 30% of the time, Bitcoin goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a trader who is betting on Bitcoin going up, 70% of the time, you're going to be wrong. If you're a trader that's betting on Bitcoin going down, 70% of the time, you're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And in addition to this 30% of the time it goes up, in any given, like in a year, 365 days, that 30% of the time that it's going up, the majority of that upward movement happens in 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. So we actually, in October, everybody's like, ooh, here comes October. Because allegedly Bitcoin goes up in October.
Mm-hmm.
And we were between 60 and 70K. And then here comes November and we go from 70K to 108K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, shoosh.
Yeah.
And I remember having the Clark Moody dashboard up on my computer and I was like, oh my God, like we're pumping.
Yeah.
And it's going up. And
Yeah.
it was 60 to 70. And it's like 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. Then we passed 100 and we're like, oh my God, it's 100K.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was texting like pumping GIFs to poor Kristen. It's like, she's like,
To Kristen.
yeah. She's like, I literally don't care.
No
She's
frame
like,
of reference
make
here.
friends to talk to about this.
Yes.
Seriously,
Yes.
I was like, honey, we're up 60% since I started buying Bitcoin in March. And she was like, do we have $1 million yet? And I was like, no. And she's like, talk to me then. I was like, oh my God, when I get to $1 million, you're going to say, do we have $10 million? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm literally never going to be able to do good.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you started buying Bitcoin this year?
In 2024.
Okay. When did you start buying Bitcoin?
Same.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what kept you guys from not buying it, like, anytime in the last?
Didn't
Just-
know enough.
Yeah. Awareness,
Okay.
low awareness,
Okay.
ignorance.
Drones.
Drones. Well, or like, if you focus and you're focused on other things, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's other things taking your attention.
Yeah.
So, the point here is you're never going to know when those 10 days in a given year are, right?
Wait, pause.
Okay.
So in this past 12 months, then you both have kind of hyper dived into like learning everything you know about it now. Like everything you know about Bitcoin for the most part has happened in the last 12 months.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you've really you really have dove in hard.
I literally jumped on the sacrificial pyre of Bitcoin
You're
and said, burn me up.
you're in your hyperfixation right now.
I believe this is a permanent.
The permanent hyperfixation.
Yeah, because we have found the greatest thing. It's done. We did it. Apart from my wife, who is the most verifiably scarce asset on earth, okay, is Bitcoin,
Yep.
right? Kristen is my number one, and then Bitcoin, right? Technically, the Old Norse gods are number one, then Kristen, then Bitcoin's number three. But
Okay.
three's all good.
Okay, but so at some point you'll need to ride some plateaus and then also see it dip and go, okay, well, but knowing that the growth will come back too, right? Like you kind of ride some waves of ups and downs.
I started buying Bitcoin in March. I buy it every week.
Yeah.
I have bought all the tops.
So you've
of
never
Bitcoin.
sold.
Hell no.
Okay. Have you ever sold?
No.
Oh,
Ain't no way. You ain't gonna get my Bitcoin.
really?
You're not gonna get my Bitcoin, right?
Really?
Because I'm not a trader.
Okay.
I don't want to watch anything.
Okay.
I ain't got no time for that. My style of life is to persist so long that everyone else around me dies and I'm the last person left. That's it. So
I'm very similar to that.
Okay.
like trying to time when to get in and then when to get back out. And do I go, is that the top? No, I just dollar cost average in a Bitcoin every week. Choop, 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 choop. And no matter what, I'm always in the middle. From wherever I started, wherever it's gone, my cost basis is always in the middle of those two places, no matter what.
Okay.
Right. So it minimizes the volatility over time, et cetera, right?
Okay.
Now.
Okay. But like thinking about it in terms of, your household operating budget too, right? Like, do you view this as something you're willing to take a risk on, or is it something that you're still just viewing as this is an extra way for us to invest money that we just,
to me, it's
have access to?
To me, it's the least risky thing to do with my capital.
Okay.
I mean, it's like the ultimate savings account. It's going to pay more than any savings account. That's going to store and hold the value of my assets better than anything else. Right.
It's not a 10% CD that you can't touch for 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, because here's this money that I can't touch for 4 years and I get 10% at the end of that. Over the past 12 months, Bitcoin is up 132%. So your 10% return talks, right?
Especially after you adjust that for inflation.
True.
And from my perspective, there is no risk to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no risk. None, right? Not even 1%. There's literally no risk at all.
But we still need to diversify.
Not me.
Yes.
No. I learned about Bitcoin. I was like, hang on, what is this? And I read the Bitcoin Standard by Safety, and I was like, yo, wait, what? Then I went to Chappie. I'm like, Chappie, what is money, chaps? Okay, what is Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin valuable? I saw a gold bug. We talked, right? And as soon as it finally clicked for me, took a gold coin from my house, took it to the gold bug. He gave me money for it. I bought Bitcoin.
Who is the gold bug?
Just anybody who thinks gold is the best money in the world is a gold bug, right?
Not from the Richard Scarry series.
I want to meet this bug.
Yeah.
We should try to get him on the show, actually. I found my Disney stock, sold it, bought Bitcoin. Found my paycheck stock, sold it, bought Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Found the unused cards in my Magic the Gathering collection, sold them, bought Bitcoin.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Yard sale, there's junk in my house. People want the junk in my house, sold it, bought Bitcoin. Right?
Okay.
My dad was like, what do you want for Christmas? Can we get you a car wash subscription? I'm like, how much is the car wash subscription worth? He's like, $500. I was like, just give it to me right now. Buy Bitcoin. I'll have a dirty car.
Yeah.
My car's a coin.
Yep.
Okay. I don't care about my car. So for me, I'm going, right? Because guess what?
But you're not taking away from anything that you need to operate your household to do that, right? You're still, it's like,
we got like pay for stuff or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
there's this thing called groceries.
Yeah, it's like we have to like pay the mortgage on our house or whatever.
Children are
Drum
expensive.
boy over here.
I was like, but babe, can I just have any money? Can I have any money? You just let me have any money? I'll buy Bitcoin, please. Please.
So tonight, so what you're saying is tonight at bingo night, I think this is going to feel like really fun in the podcast. But so tonight's bingo night.
Yeah.
Well, we're offering prizes at bingo night. Can you imagine if that $25 gift card, can I have this in Bitcoin, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would fully say, babe,
yeah,
if I want it, well, actually, then it would just be ours.
Right.
So it wouldn't work.
Right.
But, theoretically, you could swap it in. Because I think I got a gift card from someone for Amazon. I was like, well, babe, can we just put it on our Amazon account and you use that 50?
Yeah.
The next time we need it, but like, let me put $50 on my dollar cost average spreadsheet so I know I have more money.
You can get real weird and start telling your friends or anybody you do anything with, like, hey, I'll pay for it. And then just Venmo it to me. And then you can take that Venmo and put it in your checking account and cash it out. And then you can buy your Bitcoin.
I actually think you can buy or send Bitcoin. Venmo now has some capabilities around Bitcoin
Venmo
too.
does, yeah.
So you might be able to take the cash people Venmo you and get yourself some Bitcoin with it.
If you become a room parent, let's get real weird here. Okay. So if you become a room parent, so then you're collecting to buy the gift for the teacher at the end of the year, or you're collecting to then do a party. This really works well in preschools. Then you can, Let's
have a real conversation right now about taking the unused funds in the PTA.
No.
What happens? What
No.
happens if?
No.
But listen to this. August, you take the budget of the PTA for the school year, you yeet it into Bitcoin. November, it goes.
Right.
And
Oh, so
by
you're
January,
talking about you're talking about being helping the PTA be better stewards of their money by investing it in Bitcoin. Yeah.
we're always like, hey, yo, we need donations for the PTA. We got to raise funding for the PTA.
Uh-huh.
You're not going to spend all the PTA's money straight away. Store it in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
watch it go to the moon, sell off the sats as you need to power the bingo night, etc.
There you go.
Dude, you could have gold-plated pizza tonight, right?
501c3. I don't know what their investment.
Yeah. You might need to buy a vehicle that exposes you to Bitcoin, like MicroStrategy or an ETF. It's just, there's got to be some way, right?
Yeah.
But shoot, can you imagine a Bitcoin treasury for the PTA? Oh my God.
Over time.
And imagine you finish with 300 bills at the end of the year. The whole summer you're doing nothing. You're not going to spend that at all. You can wait for park that in Bitcoin over the summer.
You're right.
Watch it go to the moon. Are you kidding me? All right.
Okay.
So on the one hand, if your choice is between a bag now or a lot of bags later, that's what Bitcoin presents to us. This world's time preference is super high. Give it to me right now. Instant gratification right now. My money is inflating away, right? I parked 100 bills in my bank account last year, and now I'm ready to spend it. I can't even get $100 worth of stuff for it.
Right. Well, and I mean, that applies to a lot of things, right? Like the best time to buy a second home was 5 years ago or today, right? Like that, I feel like that will always apply. So, I mean, I think we're not a dual income household. We're a single income household. And so for me, like, what are some ways that I can be using, I have an interest in this. Like, what are some ways that I could be using that to actually see some realized income that can go towards things that we're going to be spending money on, like, because as an individual, I love the rush and the feeling of contributing. Is our next grocery order going to, be covered by that or not? Whether it is or not, I still like the personal satisfaction I get from having that rush of knowing that it's contributing to our overall household operating budget. So I would like to think about it in terms like that too. Yes, like I can say I take this money out and then make a purchase, and that, 10 years from now, I don't know that I would sit back and regret that because, I don't live my life with like a lot of financial regret like that anyway.
Right.
I think that's one of the nice things about being over 40 because, at some point we've learned enough about ourselves that, we're not going to be as anxious about things like that. But yeah, I don't know.
So there are tons of people on Reddit. Okay.
And I've never gone down the crypto rabbit hole on Reddit. I don't use Reddit for that.
Now, yeah.
It's
The
pretty
best
dark.
place to hang out is I think it's r/Bitcoin memes subreddit.
Oh, I bet.
Where it's like the most hilarious memes are going on over there. But, if Tyler were to hit the Bitcoin subreddit, almost weekly, you see someone who says, guys, I sold my Bitcoin because my family needed a house. Like for whatever reason, we were here, something happened, we had an emergency. I've been stacking Bitcoin for years. I had to sell my Bitcoin to get my family a new house, and now I feel really upset.
Right.
And when you look in the comment section, the guys in the comment section and the ladies, they say, hey, dude, sounds like you stored your value in Bitcoin until you needed it later, and then you sold it, and now you have what you need. Good job.
Right.
Now that you have your house and your family's safe because of the actions you took in the past, go ahead and start stacking sats again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are...
It served its purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And I'm going to get absolutely eviscerated by my fellow Bitcoin maxis out there in the chat. They're going to melt my face off like the Nazi in Indiana Jones who opens up the Ark of the Covenant. for suggesting that it's okay to sell your Bitcoin, right? Because we have lowered our time preference to the lowest it can go when you become a Bitcoin maxi and you're like, I don't want a bag right now. I want unlimited bags later, right? And with Bitcoin, you can actually do that. You can't do that with a nation state's paper currency, okay? Because as soon as you put it into a savings account, it starts to melt into a little puddle, right? It's going away as you're trying to hang on to it. But with Bitcoin, things stay. Now, everyone is, except for someone like the Chad Michael Saylor, they're buying Bitcoin to be able to buy more stuff later, right? Someone like the Chad Michael Saylor is buying Bitcoin to take a loan and fiat against it, buy more Bitcoin with it, take a loan against it, buy more. This dude is like just fully YOLOing into, he's done with paper currency. But most of us are like, hey, we just want to be able to provide for our kids later, our grandkids later. So with Bitcoin, you can do that. But the whole point is when you're ready to sell it for something in your life that sparks joy for you, that's okay. Right? So the answer is, should I sell my sats for a handbag in Paris? The answer is yes. And the answer is no. Right?
And I think it depends on like your outlook on what your goal is with investing in Bitcoin too. Like what you what topic we didn't cover yet, which I think is still like a good one to talk about. And this is honestly like one of my big hesitancies with Bitcoin is from an environmental perspective. Like as climate change continues to like change our planet and we think about what is the cost of running the servers that Bitcoin exists upon, like, because like if you think about, okay, so I've thought about like, oh gosh, it'd be so great to have a beach house. Well, like I'm not going to buy a beach house at North Topsail Island. But like what's happening? That island is eroding, right? It's no longer going to exist. So, and Tyler, like my husband loves when I find like the houses that are falling in the ocean in parts of the Outer Banks. I just find it fascinating. I'm so sorry. Like again, so sorry for those folks, but like from a young family perspective, we think and we go, well, we wouldn't want to invest our money there. It's falling into the ocean, right? Like those houses, there are houses that are still for sale that will not exist in 10 years from now, right? They're going to be in the ocean. And so I worry about like, if you think of it as like a 30-year investment, right? Like I wouldn't put a beach house I wouldn't buy a beach house in the Outer Banks as a 30-year investment because who knows what the Outer Banks are going to look like in 30 years, right? And if I put all of my money into that house that is going to go into the ocean and insurance is not going to cover exactly what I put into it. So I do think about that, like the long-term environmental consequences of, I mean, everything we do on the internet. And then if it is, and kind of goes back to the safest thing is to have a little diversity.
You and me.
I mean, I will just say that one of the beautiful things about Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, I mean, the way I think about Bitcoin is it's digitized energy, right? We've taken energy that creates, we've taken a turbine, right, that's somehow spinning that generates energy, and we've digitized that by sending it into a computer that's working on this math problem that solves it, and the reward is Bitcoin. So one of the great things about that system is that you can mine Bitcoin anywhere as long as there's energy. So it creates this system of incentivized miners who are incentivized to find the cheapest energy available. And oftentimes that is, it's energy that's left over that would go to waste anyway, right? So like, imagine there's a waterfall in the middle of this is a bad example because now you're going to think about energy happening in the middle of a rainforest, but like imagine there's energy that's being created somewhere that can't be captured, that can't be stored and saved. And dispersed out to the rest of the world, it just goes to waste.
Right.
Bitcoin is a way to capture that energy and monetize it. So it's always seeking out the cheapest form of energy on earth.
Okay. So if that is green energy that at the time, whatever that time is the cheapest form of energy, then that's, yeah.
Bitcoin fixes the grid.
Totally. Totally.
That's a good thing to dive into. How does Bitcoin fix the grid?
Right. So not only is Bitcoin not this energy, and do you need some more water?
I mean, I might grab it.
Okay. So not only is Bitcoin not this energy hungry monster that's contributing to climate change, Bitcoin fixes the grid.
Okay.
It fixes energy problems. And here's how, okay? You do need a lot of power to mine Bitcoin in today's world, because back in the day, you could strap your laptop to the network and off it goes. And
yeah, you were doing it in your closet.
And by the way, when you solved the block, you got 50 Bitcoin, which is $5 million.
That's something.
No.
That's something my husband and I talk about. We were like, well, I mean, when we were 28, and we could have figured out how to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
we both worked in technology at the time. So.
Can't think that way.
Sarah,
No, you
so
cannot
you drive
think
yourself
that way.
nuts.
You can't.
Yeah.
There was a website, Sarah, that was so passionate about Bitcoin back in the day that if you proved you were a human by passing a CAPTCHA test, they would send you 5 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
$500,000.
I heard a story, and it was like somebody couldn't, their laptop got discarded, and they couldn't, and they had been mining, and there's some roller coasters out there that people have had to ride. Yeah.
So since you need a lot of power, you want to make that the cheapest power you can get, because if you may not solve the block, it's not a given. So you could end up pouring resources in, and you don't solve any blocks, you don't get any Bitcoin, and then you go out of operations, right? So you need cheap power to make sure you can operate as long as you can. Well, where's the cheap power? The cheap, I mean, you can move from a first world country to a third world country where the power costs less, right? And that helps out, right? Even better is power that is not being used.
Yeah.
It's going to waste. So there's an example in Texas today of a wind farm that generates 12 units of energy every day. But the way electricity works, you can only send it so far along the grid before it peters out and isn't good anymore and can't be used. And you may only be able to send a certain amount in terms of demand. So the closest city to this wind farm only needs 7 units per day, but they're making 12.
Yeah.
So the wind farm, we're trying as hard as we can to generate green energy, but the wind farm is like, oof, I can only sell a little over half of what I make. I don't know how long I can operate. I don't know how much more I can make wind energy.
Right.
Bitcoin.
Right.
A guy shows up, looks like you have 5 unused units of energy. What if I bought those 5 units from you every day, no matter what, from now until infinity? Let me strap some computers to your turbine. I'll buy it every day.
There you go.
And I tell you what, if you guys figure out how to send 9 units later, I'll just buy 3 from you.
Yeah.
Right. If they don't need all 7 and they only need 5, I'll take the extra from you. Right.
Yeah.
So it takes that production center and makes it profitable immediately because you have a guaranteed source of income from a miner.
Right. Right.
In Bhutan, for example, they mine Bitcoin by strapping their rigs to a waterfall. And that hydroelectric dam creates energy for them. Right?
Oh, that would be so cool to see. Yeah.
They can only send so much energy to the surrounding area. Number one, because there's only so many people. Number two, the level of development in their country. There are some people like, I'm good. I have candles, like whatever.
Yeah.
But they can't send it very far outside of Bhutan either. Because again, the energy grids can't carry it, but so far.
Yeah.
So Bhutan has more energy in that waterfall than it needs.
Right.
And it's going to waste. And Bhutan isn't that rich of a country. But guess what? Take all the excess energy, mine Bitcoin with it. They have quietly mined enough Bitcoin that it is now 1/3 of their nation's wealth.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
So some of these countries that are energy abundant, but maybe underdeveloped, have a chance to get wealthier over time.
Because of that.
Yep.
And some of these projects that might not be supported by local populations, to where in the early days of that green energy initiative, they don't have enough money to continue operating, they close down. A miner can be the scaffolding, right? To that project while it gets to the point where there's enough people who want the energy.
Right.
So and one last one. When they get oil out of the earth in the Gulf Coast, okay, what comes with that oil?
What? Other industries? Is that what you're talking about?
Natural gas.
Oh, natural gas
comes with the oil.
Okay.
Those oil rigs in the Gulf Coast can't sell all their natural gas.
Right.
You know what they do with the natural gas that's left over?
Tell me.
They burn it into the sky. It's called flaring. Okay? They just boosh. They take that and they just right up into the sky, right? Guess what? Now Bitcoiners are saying, whoa.
Time out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Burn that inside somewhere for me.
Right.
To create heat or whatever. And then I'll mine Bitcoin. Like, don't send it into the atmosphere.
Right.
Let me have it. Let me have it.
Right.
Right. So Bitcoin fixes the energy grid. And I would argue that it goes a long way toward helping with climate change. Right.
Or there are avenues for it to be part of the solution.
Yeah. It does not hurt. Right? People are like, oh, Bitcoin requires so much energy. It's boiling the oceans. Nah, bro. Okay. Bitcoin is helping you out.
Yeah.
Because every drop of unused energy that you have for sale, I'll take it.
Can be
and
used.
if your local city needs more, then we'll reduce our mining, have as much of your own, and you're good. So it actually is a throttle and helps balance demand, right?
And that's one of the benefits that Bitcoin would be capable of that traditional, forms of money would not be capable of. So,
yeah. So let's do this. Let's bring it back here and just focus on what we've talked about for a second. Okay. You like to trade, you like to invest, you like to take money you would otherwise not, whatever, put toward whatever use, trade with it. Okay. You got some Bitcoin, it's doubled in value. Do you need a bag? Do you want a bag? Right. The answer is if you hang on to it for longer, it'll be worth more later. But Bitcoin is not really an investment, it's money. And what you actually did was you converted your money into a different form of money.
Right.
And now you can buy more with it. And if you want to buy something with it, go on ahead.
Right?
Now, what I recommend for you, since you like to trade, is, hey, maybe take some and buy Bitcoin and just leave it. Because you never know when those 10 days per year are that it's going to go to the moon, right?
Right. Well, now that I know that you're as excited about it as, I know that you'll text me and give me a heads up.
Ooh,
so I don't have to pay attention and you can tell me it's about to go to the moon.
Yeah. So I'll send you my pumping
just
gifs.
Text me and let me know.
Now with the other half, have fun, trade.
Right.
And so kind of maybe get yourself start stacking sats for good.
Okay.
And also trade if you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this is like, I will never, or not never, but I will hold on to this. And then this is the funny money part. That's a good way to look at it.
So now that we've had this conversation, how do you feel about Bitcoin and what are you going to do in terms of the sats or the bag?
Now my hyperfixation on Bitcoin might come back. I mean, it's been several years since I've really gotten into it, but now I may be back into trading and reading up on. And when I opened that up and I looked and I was like, well, I don't even know if these coins have performed at all. But now this afternoon I will go and see what those coins have
just
done.
sell them all and buy Bitcoin.
Okay. Could do that.
100%.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
You don't think I should hang on to algo to see if it does something?
No.
Or compound?
No.
Goodness gracious! Get rid of all of it
Clean
and
house.
go. Maybe clear that out and buy sats, and that's your leave it, and then you have a trading.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Then your funny money you can be trading.
Reorg.
With, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's power through this.
Yeah.
We're gonna offer you a choice.
Okay, that's right.
We're gonna do it real lickety split.
Okay.
And your choice is between. Well, I'll let Chris do it.
All right. Yeah. So we offer all of our guests on the show the choice between $50 in USD.
Okay.
You've seen this before.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks familiar.
or $50 worth of sats, which if I go on to the Clark Moody dashboard, which I have pulled up here, I can see that sats per dollar, 1,002 sats for every dollar.
Okay.
So I'm going to multiply that 1,002 times 50 for $50 and show you that you can have 50,100 sats.
Okay.
Or $50.
50 US.
Now, before you make a choice,
Uh-huh.
we do have another very important choice for you to make.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Which flavor of Ithaca hummus did you choose?
Oh, I chose the black bean, right? Black bean. Yeah, I'm excited to try it.
Magic Television.
Yeah.
We happen to have some black bean.
That's amazing.
Right here for you.
Cool.
Okay.
Got that.
I've never tried the black bean at the hummus, but I
Along
do really
with
like the lemon dill.
So our woven wheat
we're
crackers.
all going to try it at the same time.
Oh,
okay?
we are? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'll get mine first.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
All right. So it is a touch spicy. Okay.
Okay.
Not bad. Not like the jalapeno lime, but all right. Ready?
It's a touch spicy.
A little bit.
I put a lot on my cracker.
Who got it?
No. It's like a 2 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's fantastic.
That's good.
Well, I mean, we talked a lot about grocery shopping during our time on the podcast. So
Yeah, there you go.
this will be on my next. Mhm.
Well, and that's yours to take.
No way, really?
That's your tub. What out?
Am I more excited about $50 in Bitcoin, or am I more excited about the hummus that I get to have at home this afternoon?
The guy yesterday was like, dude, can I
Was
have
it for you as
$50 in
well?
hummus? Bam, there you go.
Cool.
So hold that up for the people at home in the chat. What do we have
Free
there?
tub on us. Valid for any Ithaca product value up to $6.99.
Bam, there we go. And looks like there's quattro there.
I
Yep.
love that. Thank you.
Yep.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
So now that you've made that choice, let's get back to this one here. $50, which will likely get you $20 worth of stuff later, or 50,000 sats, which
Yeah,
will.
I want the 50,000 sats. Like I said, I'm back. I am back on the hyperfixation.
Let's go.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna dig back in. Thanks,
More.
guys. Thanks, guys.
Let's
Amazing.
go.
Amazing.
All right. Well, Sarah, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having
Get
me.
all your friends to sign up to come on the show,
Okay.
please. Okay.
Okay.
And also get them to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, please.
Okay.
We do want you to like the video. We do want you to subscribe. Once we
Okay.
get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to unlock a live Friday morning show
Oh, fun.
where you can jump in and you can chat about sats.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
Okay, cool.
get out there, make it happen. Let's go. Join the Sat Pack, dude. We will be your drones. Friday morning live, we will do it.
All right.
Okay?
That sounds great.
All right.
That
Thanks for
sounds
coming
great.
on, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. Okay.
Sat Chats is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Our guests' views are their own.